This story is real, but the narration feels robotic because I can't speak. I want to earn, so I'm using AI to help me create voiceovers. If you'd like, you can join me in this journey. Love from Renu. The sound wakes me before dawn. Not the alarm, not birdsong, but a vibration against the nightstand. I reach across the sheets that used to feel full and find only warmth fading where Colton should be. His phone glows in the half-dark. A message unfurls across the screen, short and dangerous in its intimacy. Can't wait to see you today. It's been too long. I don't breathe. My own reflection swims faintly in the glass. A stranger with wide eyes and shaking hands. I set the phone back exactly as I found it, like evidence in a crime scene I'm not ready to admit exists. The bathroom light flicks on down the hall. Water rushes, then stops. Colton hums, light, carefree. While I sit frozen in our bed, every detail of our life suddenly suspect. The framed wedding photo on the dresser, the carefully chosen curtains, the ring still on my hand. Artifacts of a promise that feels as fragile as the glass holding his secret. When he emerges, he is already dressed too carefully for an early Sunday. Cashmere pulled smooth across his shoulders, shoes polished as though for someone who matters. He leans down, kisses my forehead, and smells of cologne he reserves for nights that used to be ours. Back later, he says lightly, scrolling his phone as though it is air he cannot live without. I murmur something I don't remember. The door closes. Silence floods the house. I make coffee with hands that will not steady, watching steam curl into the morning light. And I know, with the cold certainty of someone staring into the abyss, that I have just witnessed the first fracture in a life I thought was unshakable. By noon, the coffee has gone cold in its cup, but I'm still staring at it as though the surface might reveal an answer. The house is immaculate, curated into perfection, Italian marble countertops, shelves lined with design magazines that once praised our modern partnership. Yet the silence feels heavy, a silence that swallows laughter, warmth, trust. I pace the kitchen and tell myself it was just a message, just an old flame resurfacing. Adults can be friends. That's what Colton would say. His voice smooth as a well-rehearsed closing argument. And yet, why the cologne before sunrise? Why the smile I saw bloom across his face for a message he didn't know I read? Memories collide. The casual way he first mentioned Daisy's return to London, the way he dressed differently the following Sunday, the stories about her art career told with a brightness I hadn't heard from him in months. Each recollection now feels like a breadcrumb in a trail I never wanted to follow. The laptop screen blinks with unanswered emails, one marked urgent from my company's London office. I should open it. Instead, I shut the lid. I've been doing that for weeks, burying opportunity in the name of stability, clinging to a marriage that might already be hollow. Outside, children laugh in the park across the street. Their voices cut through the quiet, reminding me of plans Colton and I once whispered about, futures suspended now in the haze of suspicion. I catch myself checking the clock, listening for the sound of his key in the lock, rehearsing the expression I'll wear when he returns. Calm, unknowing, not yet ready to reveal that I've seen the first crack in his carefully crafted disguise. The waiting is worse than the proof. It happens on a Tuesday evening, quiet as a secret. Colton's jacket hangs neatly in the closet, but the navy scarf I bought him in Paris is gone. I tell myself it's at the cleaners. Yet when I check, the woman behind the counter shakes her head. Hasn't seen it in weeks. That night I hear his phone buzz while we eat. He glances down, the corners of his mouth twitching before he slides it face down on the table. Client crisis, he mutters, already rising, already gone, the garden door clicking shut behind him. Through the glass I watch his silhouette pacing in the cold, voice softened into tones I barely recognize. A laugh escapes him, low, genuine, the kind of laugh I've been aching to hear. For a moment I can almost believe it's me he's speaking to, until his hand lifts and I see the glow of the screen, his attention fixed on someone who isn't here. I go upstairs, drawn by something I can't name. The mirror in our bedroom reflects more than my own face. It reflects the truth. Colton has laid out clothes for the morning. His best shirt, cufflinks polished, shoes gleaming as though for a first date. I touch the fabric, and in that simple gesture, something inside me fractures. He calls it trust. I call it erasure. The emails from London wait, pulsing like a heartbeat in my inbox. For weeks I've treated them like temptation, too reckless to consider. But as I stand before the mirror, staring at the ghost of myself in a marriage where I no longer exist, I realize the real recklessness is staying. The reflection doesn't lie. Something must change. And I know it has to begin with me. Sunday morning arrives like theater curtains lifting on a play I no longer believe in. Colton emerges from the bathroom, hair styled with meticulous care, wearing the sweater I gave him last Christmas. He smells of the cologne that has become a signal, sharp as betrayal itself. I sit at the kitchen island, coffee cooling between my palms. Bath is only 2 hours away, I say evenly. We could go today. Find that antique market you used to talk about. His shoulders stiffen. He doesn't look at me. Not today. Daisy needs me. There it is, the name spoken openly without apology. The air tilts heavy, dangerous. What about what I need? The question surprises me with its quiet force. Finally, his eyes meet mine. Cold, assessing. We've gone over this, Paige. You're overthinking. Adults can be friends with their exes. If you can't trust me. He pauses as though calculating the most efficient way to end a negotiation. Maybe we shouldn't be together. The words hang in the kitchen like smoke, impossible to clear. He expects me to argue, to cry, to beg. I can see it in the way his jaw tightens, bracing for the storm. But something inside me has shifted. The scarf, the laughter in the garden, the wedding date he forgot, the emails I've been ignoring. Each moment stacks into a tower I can no longer hold up. You're right, I say softly. His face flickers, confusion, then alarm. This wasn't in his script. I rise, steady now, the weight of my decision finally settling as freedom. Upstairs waits my laptop, the unopened email, the life I've been too afraid to claim. The ultimatum was never his. It's mine. I climb the stairs without looking back, each step louder than the last. In our bedroom, sunlight spills across the bed like an interrogation light, exposing every false promise that's lived here. My laptop waits on the desk, the email subject line glowing. London Division Director. Final consideration. My fingers hover, trembling but sure. Colton's voice rises from below, sharp with panic now. Paige, wait, we should talk. I didn't mean. But he did. Every word. I open the email and type with the calm precision of someone finally awake. I'm ready to accept the role. Please confirm start date and relocation details. My pulse steadies with each keystroke, a rhythm stronger than his excuses ever were. Behind me, the door creaks open. He stands in the frame, hair perfect, cologne clinging. The image of a man dressed for someone else's story. Don't do this, he says, his voice cracking for the first time. We can fix it. I turn, meeting his eyes without flinching. You already fixed it. You made the choice for both of us. His lips part, searching for another lie, but I hit send before he can speak. The sound of the email leaving is quiet, almost ordinary, but it lands like thunder in the room. For a long moment, neither of us moves. Then the phone in my hand buzzes. Reply from London, brilliant news. Welcome aboard. 3 weeks until start date. Colton stares at the screen as though it's a verdict. And it is. I close the laptop, stand and walk past him. The house feels different already, less like a prison, more like a stage I've exited for the final time. This was never about trust. It was about truth. And mine begins now. 3 weeks later, I stand at the floor-to-ceiling windows of my new flat in Shoreditch. London sprawls beneath grey skies, alive with restless energy. The city hums like possibility, and for the first time in years I don't feel small inside it. The flat is bare. Just boxes, a mattress, a coffee mug from the cafe downstairs. But it already feels more like home than the house in Richmond ever did at the end. Because here nothing smells of betrayal. No shadows stretch across the furniture whispering of conversations I wasn't part of. This space is mine. Colton still calls. The messages shift from anger to pleading to silence. I don't answer. Daisy surprisingly writes once. A short note. I thought I was winning. Turns out we were both losing. I read it twice, then delete it. Some stories don't deserve to be replayed. In the office, I feel something I hadn't realized I missed: lightness. Ideas come easily, unburdened by suspicion. My team looks at me not as someone's wife, but as a leader. Every win feels untainted, every success truly mine. One evening, I pass a gallery with its windows glowing against the night. Inside, strangers linger over photographs of lives that aren't theirs. I pause at the glass, watching them, and realize I no longer feel like a spectator in my own story. The city swallows me whole as I walk on, its light scattering across wet pavement like a map of futures I haven't yet imagined. For years I thought leaving meant failure. Now I know it means choosing. I chose myself. And that has made all the difference.